the New York Rangers have officially arrived. And not only have they arrived, they are looking nasty. Currently, the Rangers are third in the entire NHL with 23 points and an 11-2-1 record. They're also 9-0-1 over their last 10 and probably the hottest team in the league. But just how good is this Rangers team? Well, we're going to be dissecting that to see what's next, to see if this team can win the Stanley Cup in the end this year. So make sure you watch till the end for the full breakdown and hit that subscribe button for more hockey and Rangers content throughout the year. Now, when we look at the Rangers' success so far this season and what their success will look like throughout the rest of this year, it all leads back to the head coaching change going from Gerard Gallant to Peter Laviolette. And I'll be one of the first to say that I wasn't in love with the Laviolette signing, especially with his time in Washington. That team was kind of stagnant. But to give credit where it's due, not only has he utilized the talent on this team way better than Gallant did, he's also making them play as a better unit, and we've seen the success from that so far. This was a team that I knew was going to be in the top 3 of the Metro, but probably number 3 behind Carolina and New Jersey. But again, give credit to this Rangers team, man, because they have been a wagon this year. The biggest difference to me has been that strong defensive play, and throughout really the entire season, they have been so good. When we look at the early season for the Rangers, you can see they won in the first game versus the Sabres, lost in a big game versus Columbus, though, won versus Arizona, but had a horrible loss to the Nashville Predators, looking completely outmatched. But really, ever since that game, they have been an absolute squad. And you can see over their last 10 games, they've allowed 2 goals or fewer in 6 out of the last 10. That's a recipe for success right there. But here is the thing that makes this start for the Rangers so impressive. If they started out this season 11-2-1 with a completely healthy roster, it still would have been a surprise and a fantastic start, but with the talent they had, you could see why they would start off well. But over the last 4 games, Igor Shesterkin, Adam Fox, and Filip Chytil have all been out of the lineup. 3 fundamental parts of this Rangers roster and team, yet this Rangers team is still rolling. And if you would have told anybody that this Rangers team is 3-1 since they've lost Fox and Shesterkin, their 2 best players, you would have been laughed at. And yes, I know saying laugh is foreshadowing. We'll get into him in a second. And here's the thing too, they're not even done with the injuries. Ryan Lindgren was injured in this last game versus Columbus and now could be out for the next little bit as well. But this Rangers defense has a first man up motto, and really since the Adam Fox injury, they've still held up their own. One of the main reasons is Jacob Trouba and how good he's looked this season. A lot more comfortable in that captain position, holding down that defense. At least eye test wise, he's looked incredible. You also got Keandre Miller, who has been fantastic all this season, had some rough spots last year and drew some criticism defensively, but this season is getting back to his game and getting even more consistent. And Erik Gustafsson, man, what's left to say? One of the best value free agents last year out of everybody. Might be the most value free agent. He has been insane. But honestly, with the systems that Peter Laviolette has put into place, you could put so many different guys onto this defense and it feels like they would gel together instantly. That's the magic of what we've seen with Laviolette so far, is this whole team defensively is buying in. You got players like Mika Zibanejad putting up great defensive numbers, and even though the scoring hasn't been there, the fact that Mika Zibanejad is playing good defense in 2023, Laviolette's done some magic here. You look across the entire NHL, and in terms of 5-on-5 expected goals against per 60, how many goals are expected to be scored against you per 60 minutes, the Rangers are the 10th best defense in the NHL right now with a 2.45. And that's not just because of the defense core, it's the forwards being way better defensively than we've really seen out of this group. And to me, that is the biggest difference. Even though the defensive corp has been fantastic and has bought in a lot of different ways, that 4 group of a lot of players that I thought were one-dimensional playing a lot better defensively than I ever thought they could. In terms of 5-on-5 expected goals against per 60 with the players, you got what was that first line in the top 3 of Kaapo, Kakko, Kreider, and again, Mika Zibanejad being the lowest among the lowest on the team, which is a good thing in this point. You got players as well like Erik Gustafsson playing fantastic defensively. Braden Schneider has continued to be a great defensive force. You got players like Alexis Lafreniere looking pretty good defensively. You got players like Will Cooley and Vincent Trocheck putting in their own as well. This 4 group has just looked so much more consistent in their own zone, and that's led to a lot more success too. And when you look across the entire NHL right now in goals against per game, only 2 teams in the Bruins and the Knights, 2 teams ahead of them in the standings, are better in terms of goals against per game, with the Rangers being 3rd best with 2.14. That's pretty incredible in today's day and age to be so low. And then, of course, you have the Rangers' placement in goals for per game with a 3.29 rate. But to me, this could be even higher. Mika Zibanejad only has 2 goals this season. Filip Chytil, of course, has been out for a big stretch. Kakko should have a lot more points at this stage. So once those players regress to the more moderate average, I think the Rangers could be in an even better spot here. And let's talk about those friggin' forwards so far this year as well. You can see Artemi Panarin, 24 points in 14 games, one of the league leaders right now, 8 goals, 16 assists. The guy has been insane. All he had to do was shave, look like Walter White, and he has been on a tear. And then you got Chris Kreider chugging along with 10 goals in 14 games. Not too shabby there either. That's what Chris does best. But then you have Alexis friggin' Lafreniere, 3rd in team scoring right now with 11 points in 14 games. And of course, 7 points over his last 4. He has also officially arrived. He got off to a pretty good start of the season and was looking solid, but man, he has been a dominant force. Got 2 goals versus Columbus in big moments and the shootout winner. The guy is just feeling it right now. As he should though, playing on that second line with Panarin and Trocheck, that line has been beautiful since Chytil got injured, and unfortunately, of course, the Chytil injury happened, but I would probably assume after Chytil comes back, that he'll probably be on that 3rd line instead. Panarin, Trocheck, and Lafreniere. You can't really break up that line right now. It's just been too good. And of course, the Rangers putting Blake Wheeler on the first line seems to have worked a little bit as well, starting to get some chemistry going there too. Hopefully, Mika Zibanejad can finally start scoring. That's the craziest part, is that this Rangers team has been so dominant, so good, but Mika only has 2 goals so far. Once he finally starts to regress at the average, it's going to be nuts. And of course, going back to that team scoring, Fox 11 points in 10 games. Even though he's been missed, you have had players coming up like Erik Gustafsson, who has 10 points in 14 games. Not only is he playing the best defense in his life, the guy has continued to be one of the best offensive D on the team, one of the best offensive players on the team, and he's been unreal too. Also, though, shout out to Vincent Trocheck having 11 points in 14 games. He's been producing at a great rate and has been one of the more consistent Rangers just over these last couple of years. And again, you have Mika Zibanejad 7th in team scoring. He'll be in that top 3 eventually, but once those goals start to come, they're going to come in bunches, folks, and it's going to be unreal to watch. But it just feels like this team is starting to click little by little, and injuries come in. Well, players will come into the lineup, get higher spots, and bring some chemistry too. Everybody has played their roles perfectly for the Rangers so far, and especially with the injuries they've had, you can't really ask for better team play. They've still been at a great level, and those injuries have brought in some new chemistry. You have an unreal second line again, and you have, of course, players stepping up like Erik Gustafsson too in the wake of Adam Fox leading. Jonathan Quick has been amazing in goal. There's been so many great little stories on this Rangers team that have just added up to a great roster so far. And let's just talk about that goaltending, folks. You can see Igor Shesterkin playing 8 games with a .913 save percentage. The fact that this team has been so good while Shesterkin is sitting in a .913 save percentage is pretty miraculous. But he, of course, wasn't getting off to the craziest start in the world to start the year. But hopefully, once he gets back after this injury, he'll be 100%, and hopefully will find his groove again. You see Jonathan Quick, man, 6 games played, a .928 save percentage. He has been better than expected in the backup role. I thought he was going to be serviceable. I thought he was going to be fine. He was playing some of the best hockey with this Rangers team, with his hometown team, and not just been a good backup. He's now the starter right now with Shesterkin out and has actually looked fine. He hasn't looked like he's regressed whatsoever. And of course, Louis Domingue, the absolute legend that he is, got a .962 save percentage in the 1 game he played, because of course he did. But that's just that defense playing well around him and allowing him to look so good. And when you look at it in terms of goals saved above expected, right now Jonathan Quick is first on the team, and you can see at a 6.75 plus, he's been incredible. He's been one of the best goalies in the entire league this year. And even though Igor Shesterkin got off to a decent start, he's still got a +4, which is pretty good in the games he played. Not bad, maybe not as elite as he has been in the past, but still pretty solid. And in terms of that goals saved above expected stat, this is the top 10 right now, but you can see Jonathan Quick, 8th best in the league in goals saved above expected. He's been one of the best goalies so far. There's just the simple facts right there. But the offense is rolling, the defense is looking good no matter who's on that D-core, and the goaltending has been great in lieu of an injury in their star goaltender. This Rangers team has faced early adversity, and some major ones. How many teams out there could go 3-1 without their number 1 D and number 1 goaltender? Not very many, and look as good as the Rangers have. This is just showing how consistent this squad is, though, how much more of a team they're looking like as well, and that's the biggest thing. I think this Rangers team has had a lot of individuality over the last couple of years, bringing in Patrick Kane last year, brought in even more individuality, and the team did not look like a group. They didn't look like a unit that was together or had really any sizable chemistry. But now, not only is this Rangers team having some amazing performances, they are looking like a unit, they are looking like a team that is a force to be reckoned with. And when you look at it too, this is the remaining strength of schedule for every NHL team. Number 32 is the easiest schedule throughout the rest of the season. Number 1 is the hardest. You can see the Rangers 21st in that aspect. So like the 11th easiest schedule or whatever it is. The Rangers are in a pretty good spot, though. They've had some tough opponents, but they've done pretty solid during those. The Rangers, though, looking like a little bit more of an easier schedule throughout the rest of things, which will help as well. I also just had to give a special shout out to the special teams that have also been working extremely well for the Rangers. This is the top 11 teams in terms of power play percentage. The Rangers are second, only behind the Devils, with a 33.3% power play. They've been incredible, and that power play has always been pretty solid for the Rangers and always been a weapon. But here's the thing, it's not just that power play scoring that they've been really relying on, unlike New Jersey, who has had just so much of their offense come from the power play. The Rangers are scoring 5-on-5, they're scoring on the power play. Everything is looking good there. And then you got the penalty kill, which is also among the league's best. They're 6th in that department with an 86.7% penalty kill. There's been a couple of ones over 90% like Dallas and Boston, but the Rangers are right up there, and it just shows, again, the quality of that defense. Also, the goaltenders coming up as well in the penalty kill. They've been fantastic. The Rangers have gotten the job done when they needed to, and that clutchness on special teams has, again, allowed a lot more success to happen 5-on-5. But really, this whole Rangers team is coming together in a bunch of different ways, and it really all goes back to this offseason. You got key additions like Erik Gustafsson and Jonathan Quick putting up major performances so far. But really, of course, the biggest free agent signing is Peter Laviolette, who has been incredible. I mean, I haven't seen him coach a team this well in years, and it has been a welcome blessing onto this Rangers team. And you look back at the coaches they've had in the past now, and it just feels night and day the difference with this Rangers roster. So far, Laviolette is getting everything out of these players, and it has just been so much fun to watch. The growth in the defense, the growth in some of those younger players. Of course, Lafreniere playing the lights out right now, better than he ever has before. And if you said that Peter Laviolette would have gotten that out of him, I would have been pretty surprised. There were times in Washington and other teams he's been with where some of those younger players weren't given the most opportunity. Lafreniere's been given opportunity, and he has ran away with it. I'm not sure if there was maybe a fundamental change with Laviolette, but he's doing perfect right now and giving those younger players the exact type of opportunity they need. And man, the fact that we have Lafreniere at 11 points so far, it is just so exciting to see him blossom and finally look like the player that we wanted to see out of him for so long. The player that was drafted first overall in 2020. And even though, of course, that patience was necessary, it's finally happening. It's finally that sign, that growth has finally started to happen, and it has been wonderful. A lot of it comes down to the confidence and actually using the skill set that he has. And again, give credit to that coaching staff for getting him to the player that he needed to be. And you could go down the lineup and just say that for so many other different players like Jacob Trouba, Keandre Miller, Erik Gustafsson on the offense, Artemi, Panarin, Vincent Trocheck. This coaching staff has done wonders for this Rangers team, the difference that it has made, and it's just so much fun to watch. I'm really hoping that this success stays throughout the rest of the regular season, because seeing them be first place in the Metro will be pretty special to watch. But that's the thing, even if that success in the regular season doesn't come, it feels like this team is so much more better prepared for the playoffs with how much more structured they are defensively. That's really the main key difference and how much more of a unit they are playing. We've seen time and time again with so many different Stanley Cup champions, how much that depth and how much that pure squadness just really matters. And especially with how Vegas was able to be constructed last year, it wasn't any one player carrying the load. So many different guys came into big spots and were exactly who they needed to be. Right now, the Rangers are playing like that type of team, which we have never seen in the past. Especially last year, they were the anti-team. They were a team of a bunch of different guys, of a bunch of different skill sets that couldn't come together in the end, and the New Jersey Devils ran away with it. This team, though, feels different, and this roster feels different. This coaching staff feels different, and hopefully some success will finally follow. Success this Rangers team needs to have. Let us know in the comments down below, what do you guys think of this Rangers roster? Are they a wagon? Do you see them going farther in the playoffs this next year? And do you see them actually having some success? Let us know down below where you guys think they'll finish. And of course, in the playoffs, how far you think they'll go. Of course, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell if you haven't already. And of course, share the video with all the hockey fans you guys know online. Click this card for all of my hockey prospects talk right in one playlist. And I will see you in the next one. Have a great day, and goodbye.